Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Wreaths by Marguerite. I'm Marguerite. Today, our tutorial is going to be for this beautiful storm door wreath. It's under 4 inches deep, so you can put it behind a storm door without it being crushed. You can put it anywhere, but it's designed in this fashion so that if you do have a storm or a screen door, it'll fit in that 4 inches of space. So if you're interested in seeing how this goes, stick around. We'll be making this coming up in just a moment. Okay. Here is everything that I'm using to make this wreath and the tools. I was so excited that this sign came, so I decided to do it now. It was not in the rotation, but I love the sign. I've been looking forward to it getting here, so I went ahead and decided to do it today. So here are all the elements that we have. It all started with the sign. So with all these beautiful colors, I chose to go with these ribbons. I'm doing 2 different sets of bundles. One with the blue polka dot and white polka dot, and one with the lavender polka dot. And then they each have the floral and the yellow, what are they called? Plaid. I got it. A lot going on today. So the blue, purple, and the yellow are all 1.5 inch ribbons. But they are all cut at 13 inches in length, and then the floral is a 2.5 inch ribbon, which is cut also at 13 inches. So I'm going to put these bundles back together and move them to the side because we won't be using them at the moment. First thing we're going to do is attach the mesh. So let me get this stuff all out of the way. That's the blue pile. Where's the blue pile? Blue. So that means the other one's the purple. Because we have an even number of twist ties in our frame, you can do 2 different styles and not have 2 that are exactly the same against each other. So that's part of why I'm doing this, and partially because I'm trying to get as many of the colors from the sign into this project as possible. This is the mesh we're using. It's 10-inch mesh, and it is pre-cut for the project at 20 inches in length. This way. Crossed here. This one looks a little wrinkled because I made one to start with to put on the frame to make sure this is definitely how I want it to work and what elements I'm going to use. So I'm going to put that there. And then finally, but most importantly, this is our base. I'm going to put that out of the way for now and put some plastic over it to protect it from being scratched. Okay. This is the base. It's a 14.25 inch metal wreath frame with 4 rings, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6 crossbars, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In order for this style to work, you need 4 rings and 6 crossbars because you're going to be putting 6 pipe cleaners on rings 1 and 2 at the crossbar. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then the other 6 pipe cleaners are going to go in between the crossbars on rings 3 and 4. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have the inside pipe cleaners pulled to the center because we're going to be working with the outside pipe cleaners first. You'll notice a trend. There's 12 of these, there's 12 of those, and there's 12 bundles of ribbon. So that makes it a lot easier. It also used to be 12-inch tails, but I found that it needs the 13-inch to make sure that the outer edge, the ribbon on the bottom layer, is seen. So we're going to start with this and this. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my pipe cleaners out horizontal to me. I'm going to turn the frame as I do it. Get them all in place so they're ready when I'm ready to put the mesh in, because the first 6 pieces of mesh are going to go in on the bottom layer, which is the outside pipe cleaners. So that's all ready to go for me. If you noticed, I brought it in front of me as I'm working on it, and I'm not reaching across the table. That takes a lot of the strain off of your back and arms. So I'm going to put that aside and talk about the tools. Obviously, you need some good scissors for these projects. I recommend you don't let anybody use them other than for wreath making, specifically crafting. I have several other scissors. If I need to cut something like the plastic tag that was on this sign off, I try not to use these so they stay nice and sharp for my ribbon. Then you're going to need some needle nose. No, needle nose. Maybe. We may or may not use that, and you'll see why later. This is my wire cutters. This is how I'm going to cut the pipe cleaners when it's time to cut off the excess. I use a chip clip to work with my mesh. A wooden dowel to curl the pipe cleaners at the end. If you don't have a wooden dowel, a pencil or a pen work perfectly. And I don't need this for this project because there's holes already in the sign. We'll be feeding the pipe cleaners up through the sign to the top rather than having pipe cleaners attached to the back of the sign and fed down through the mesh. But this is a great tool. It's a 6-inch plastic embroidery needle. I use this to pull the pipe cleaners from the back of the sign through the mesh. Much easier than trying to do it by hand because you're fighting against everything in there. This pulls it right through. If you want to see how to use this, make sure you watch some of the other videos. And oh, by the way, if you want to see projects where I've cut all the ribbon on camera and put all the mesh in on camera and such, I refer you to all of the Wreaths tutorials that I have on this page that have kits that go with them, because I cut some of the ribbon when I do that. And then if you want to see all the ribbon and mesh cut, you go back to the videos from the very beginning, which are in January, February, and March of 2024. So there's a 2-year catalog of videos you can look at to learn and study if you want to learn how to do this on your own. And if you're just here for entertainment purposes, even better. I still explain generally what's going on. I'm going to put this away now because we are not using it. We don't need any glue today. Let me get a sip to dry. Got a dry mouth. Okay. So I'm going to put all these tools aside for now because the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use the frame. And I've prepped that already. And we're going to use a chip clip. Oh, what I was going to say about the tools is all of these tools are things you have around the house or in the toolbox. So if you're just starting out, don't invest in a bunch of tools till you are confident this is something that you're going to go forward with doing. If you do decide to go forward with doing this on your own, you need a cutting mat. And you need a rotary cutter to cut your mesh, because otherwise you will destroy your table. This is usually in the sewing department at most stores that sell the craft supplies. But these, you have scissors at home. Most toolboxes have a needle nose and a wire cutter. And then this is just out of the kitchen. Okay, so I'm going to grab that first piece of mesh. I'm going to use the one that's a little wrinkled first because I want to make sure I get it on the bottom. It's not hurting it. It's not going to look different than the rest once I get it done. But we're going to ruffle it in the pancake method because we're wanting to make sure that this stays as thin as possible so that it can go behind a storm or a screen door, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is I like to use the table to uncurl my mesh, and it's always curl side down with this method, okay? So I usually start at the top. Piece of fray came out. This is completely normal. You cannot stop mesh from fraying. Some people use wood cutters. No, not wood cutters. Wood burners on a tempered piece of glass to cut their mesh. That helps because it fuses it a little bit, but it's not perfect. This would be a perfect candidate for using a wood burner because it is all plastic, all poly. It's called Deco Poly Mesh, okay? You can feel that it's very plasticky, which is nice because that makes it extremely weather resistant. Gets wet, it's just going to drip off. Okay, so I've uncurled it. I'm going to take this side here to find the center and clip it at the top. That is my visual guide for ruffling it up the center to make sure I stay centered. When you have a pattern mesh, it's a little easier to stay focused on the center. But when you get into a solid colored mesh, or this one where the lines go the opposite direction of what you're ruffling, you need that visual tool to help you stay centered, okay? So on the bottom layer, we're going to ruffle it one way, and on the top layer, we're going to ruffle it a different way. I like to show you both methods that I use. I use them interchangeably, but I most often use the method I'll use in the final layer. It's just, the mesh gets really tightly curled in the very center there. So the curl is tighter, and it works against you a little bit more when you're ruffling. So the clip helps hold that down really well. And the method I will use on the top layer will make it easier for you to handle the mesh, you know. So I've done it up there. Now I need to fold it again down here to find my center because that's my starting point. That's my center. where I'm going to ruffle all the way up to the clip, and I'm going to put the mesh up against my thumb as I ruffle it with both of my hands, looking ahead as I'm gathering the mesh in my hands, doing my best to stay as centered as possible. I really like using plaid mesh because it's super easy to follow the pattern and the center stripe. But not all projects require that. I love this mesh. It's nice and bright. It's great for spring and summer. So I ruffled it the rest of the way up. I'm going to hold it with one hand with my thumb and forefinger. I'm left-handed, so this is my left hand. And I'm going to hold it loosely so that if I need to adjust the mesh at all before I put it in the frame, I can. What we're looking to do is to make sure that these outer edges match up so you have basically a perfect circle. And we never grab the mesh at the outside edge. If you do that, you're in danger of messing up the pattern in the mesh. And the outside edges are what's going to be seen the most, so we want to make sure that stays intact. So this side's fine. This side's off just a little, so I'm going to loosen up my grip a little more, and I'm going to grab down by my thumb and forefinger and pull it up to even it out, but never pulling from the outer edge. So when you're working on the frame, you have the pipe cleaner that you're working on directly in front of you, and then you're going to take, it's horizontal, you're going to take your mesh, and you're going to put it in vertically, where your thumb and forefinger should be your center still, and you're going to bring up the pipe cleaners on each side. I chose white pipe cleaners to match the sign and the edges of the ribbon that's going to be on the top. Well, maybe not the edges, but close enough. It'll accent nicely. So I'm pulling tight and low towards the table, and I'm going to twist it that way 3 times. You can just do it 2 times, but 3 is more secure, and that's important if you have to adjust your mesh once it's in the frame. Pull these up out of the way if they're not meeting up equally, because sometimes, a lot of times actually, when you go from the ruffling to place it in the wreath, it's not always perfect. You want to make sure you have 5 inches on each side of the pipe cleaner, because this is 10-inch mesh, so 5 on this side, 5 on that. And having the table mat, the cutting mat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, helps you stay on track. If not, most people have a ruler around the house. You can use that too. Okay. You can also use the ruler if you want to find the center of your mesh as well when you're ruffling, pre-ruffling. So now I'm going to take the outside cut edge over the inside cut edge. And I'm going to take the outside cut edge over the inside cut edge on this side. This is very stiff mesh because it is completely plastic. So I'm just going to make sure that everything's where it should be. That side's perfect. This one is about 1 inch further than the bottom one. So I'm going to pull, holding the pipe cleaner down at the base from the back. Pull it out just a little bit to even it up. And if it will let you curl it under, go for it. That also helps it stick to itself and stay in place. I will tell you that mesh is like Velcro. It'll stick to anything and everything, so make sure you have plenty of space to work so it's not gathering products as it goes around in a circle. And don't wear any good clothes. Wear something that's not new and short sleeve when possible. If you have to wear long sleeves, get them rolled up to above your elbow so you're not attaching yourself, because as we proceed with making this, there's going to be more mesh and it's going to be more likely to attach itself. So sometimes standing when you do this helps to keep it from attaching itself to you, but that's subjective, so I prefer to sit. I've got lots of issues. So when I put these pieces of mesh in, I don't go in a circle all the way around. What I do is I put one in, I skip one, I put one in, I skip one, I put one in, I skip one, and then I go back and do the remaining 3 in between. That helps with the design, gives it more dimension, and it helps it stay short because we want to keep this under 4 inches deep. Okay, so that means I'm going to work with that one next. Notice I move it out of the way so I don't connect it on anything. I'm going to use the table to unroll this. But first I'm going to curl side down, fold it in half, clip it at the top. And you'll notice when I did the first one, a piece of mesh came off. Let me take that off. Clean it up as you go. And refold it. I'm stretching. I should have brought it to me. That's okay. I needed a little stretch. Okay, so that's ready. Now we're going to go down to this side. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to gather all the mesh into my thumbs, which are on the outside of the mesh, and take all of my fingers, and I'm going to just Keep centered. See how it's moving on me? That's okay. It's not the end of the world. Just readjust as you go if you need to. So you can stay centered to that clip at the top. So you have half on each side of the center. Half of the mesh on each side of the center. Pull that clip off and pull that last little bit of mesh into your hand. Hold it loosely. This dips in a little bit, so I'm going to bring it out just a touch. And then I'm going to bring it over to the frame. That's horizontal. This is going in vertically. So I'm going to bring that in right at the center point. Put the pipe cleaner around it. Twist it tight and low to the table. Ooh, lost my grip. And you can put some real strength into this process. It won't hurt it. These are very well made pipe cleaners. I usually get my pipe cleaners at Hobby Lobby. They sell them at the Dollar Tree, but you'll notice the wire isn't as thick in them. I feel more comfortable with a more sturdy wire, so I always go to Hobby Lobby unless it's a specified color that I can only find at Dollar Tree or somewhere else. So now I'm going to take that outside cut edge over the inside cut edge. I'm curling it under if I can. Outside cut edge under inside cut edge. Okay, so this has got a point on it, and this is dipped in a little bit, and that's too far that way. So I need to adjust it. So I need to bring this out right here. Okay, this is, that looks okay. This is dipping, so somewhere over here I've got, this is dipped in. So somewhere out here I've got a point, and we don't want that. Now before I move on to the third one, I want to explain why the mesh goes in vertically rather than in an angle or the other direction where the cut edges are this way. It's specifically because of the cut edges. Let me cut this piece of fray off. We always do that as we go. I do it this way because that way the cut edges are protected as much as possible from catching on anything. Of course, on the bottom layer, it's not as big of a deal because the ribbon on this layer and then the mesh and ribbon and sign on the top layer are going to cover it. But this way you are reducing the possibility for fray. That's why I do it. There are people that do it other ways. That's fine. This is just my suggestion. Make sure you got 5 inches on each side. 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to go to this one. Why is it so important also to have 5 inches on each side? Well, if you have too much outside, like if you have 6 or 7 inches of your mesh on this side of the pipe cleaner and not on that side, you're going to have, when you're looking at your wreath, it's going to have, it's not going to be perfectly round. It's going to be wavy, and we don't want that. That's not a good look. Okay, so now I'm going to uncurl this on the table. Fold it in half. Pardon. Clip it at the center. Pardon. In southwestern Nebraska right now, it's very dry. We're basically drought this year. We have had almost no moisture. Okay, so I folded it in half and found my center. I'm going to take thumbs on the outside. The rest of the fingers are going to ruffle it into my thumbs and try to bring it towards you instead of creeping up towards it like that. That's fine, but just remember, the more you creep towards the clip instead of bringing it down to you, the more strain you're putting on your arms and backs, which will wear you out quicker. Get to the top, take the clip off, pull the rest in, hold it loosely. That is dipping in just a touch, so I'm going to pull it here. Bring it in. Put it there vertically. Hold it in place till you get your pipe cleaners up. This one's fighting me. Crisscross. Pull it tight and low to the table. Twist it 3 times that way. 2, 3. Bring it out of the way. I keep pulling them up and out of the way because I'm not using them right now. And I'm going to take that outside cut edge over the inside cut edge. And this outside cut edge over this inside cut edge. Trying to curl it under. And make sure we got 5 inches going on. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That looks good. Curl it under. Make sure you don't have any sharp points out here. Make any adjustments you need. So I'm going to stop here, and I'm going to put the rest of the mesh in on this layer and the first 3 bundles of ribbon tails, and then I'll be back with you. Okay, here we are with the rest of the mesh applied for the bottom layer and the first 3 bundles of ribbon. The way I placed them is with the yellow up, the floral in the middle, and the blue down on one side. And then on the other side, I have the yellow down instead of up, the floral in the middle still, and this time the blue and white polka dot up. So now I'm going to go in and I'm going to grab the 3 that have the purple polka dot and do those in between. And I'll explain the process to you as I do it. So the first thing you do, you have to make sure all your pipe cleaners are now vertical. For putting the mesh in, you want to make sure that the pipe cleaners are horizontal. For the ribbon, you want to make sure the pipe cleaners are in vertically. You're going to open a bundle. It's nice and folded so you know where your center is. You're going to ruffle up the center. You're going to pull the ends, the tips of the ribbon down to the edge of the table, making sure both sides are even. And then you're going to bring that over to the frame. Now, why do we pull the ribbon out to the outside edge of the table? Because that helps it stay out to the edge of the wreath. Because on the bottom layer, all you're going to see are the tips of the ribbon because it'll be covered by the next layer of mesh, ribbon, and sign. So this helps it stay to the outer edge. Make sure you run your fingers over it to make sure it's nice and straight as well. So I put this in here. It's at that upside down V shape. I'm going to take that pipe cleaner and I'm going to tighten low, go 3 times towards the table, low to the table, 2, 3, and then I'm going to twist upwards towards the ceiling to make a 1 to 1.5 inch twist. It's usually 6 to 8 times I'll do it, and then you're going to cut the excess that's not twisted off, throw it in the trash, and you can either tuck this into the mesh now towards the center of the wreath, or once you've positioned your ribbon. Most of the time I wait till I position my ribbon because it tends to pop back up. So to position your ribbon on each side, you turn it towards you. You lift the top 2 ribbons away, and then you're going to position your ribbon where you want it, and I always run my fingers over it to get those edges nice and crisp. Then I'm going to take the top one away from the second one and place it. That had a bunch of bubbles in it or divots from the gathering process. I just popped it out by putting my finger up in there, and then I'm going to do the same thing, push my finger up in there, and then bring it down here. On the bottom layer, you don't want much curl to your ribbon because it's going to have the other elements on top of it, so it's going to make it flat anyway. So I put the yellow at the top on that side, so I'm going to put the yellow down over here on this side. So I've turned it again towards me. And don't fuss with the ribbon too much until we're totally done. It's going to move and relocate. We're going to fix that at the end when we fluff it all out. So lift those top 2 away, all the way up to the pipe cleaner so you have as much leverage as possible. You bring that down there. You lift this one up and away, and you place the floral one, and then do the last one. It's often a 3-in-1 movement. So I like to push down on them a little bit when I'm adjusting them into their location before I put this down here, the stub of the pipe cleaner. It helps it to lay flatter because remember our goal is to have this under 4 inches deep. Okay, let's do the next one. And you noticed I did all the blue first, now I'm doing all the purple. I also layer it in the same fashion as I do the mesh to give it more dimension. I do 3 and then the other 3 in between. That's intentional. If it doesn't matter for you, just start in one place and just work in a circle. So I got that one ready. Twist low into the table, 2, 3, then twist up 3 times, 6 to 8 times. I almost said 3. Cut off the excess that is not twisted. Throw that in the trash and adjust your ribbon accordingly. Lift, separate, position, running your fingers over the ribbon as you do it. Get that popped out. Lift, separate, position, and then position the last one. I'm getting those bubbles out of there. So your ribbons will overlap the ones on the side of them just a little bit. This one's got an attitude. You need to stay there. Okay. All right, so we're going to turn it again. See how I'm not adjusting my body too much? I'm letting the wreath do the work by moving it into position. Just getting a little to the side there. Lift, separate, position. lift, separate, position, and then position. Make sure it's on top of that yellow one that's got an attitude over there. I push it down just a little bit. Just a little bit. Okay. We got one more on this layer. Again, it's the one with the purple. You see a piece of frayed mesh. I'm going to pull that off so I don't have to deal with it. Ooh, I only did one twist. That was interesting. I almost undid my poof. Okay. So next we're going to do this. Ruffle. Bring the ends to the table edge. Put it in there. Pipe cleaner. Twist tight and low. 1, 2, 3. Then twist upwards towards the ceiling 6 to 8 times. Cut the excess that wasn't twisted off. Throw it in the trash. Try to keep your workspace clean, because what's going to inevitably happen if you don't do that, it's all going to attach to the back of the wreath and you'll be picking it off. Lift, separate, position. This is a very flimsy ribbon, but it's got a good wire in it, so it likes to fight you. Lift, separate, and position. It's a Sam's Club ribbon, but I love it. For the spring, I wanted to use it in this project to get some yellow in here. Okay, so lift, separate, position. Lift, separate, position. See how this moved all up there? That's not a big deal. And if you notice, I'm not handling the ribbon from the ends. Ribbon frays just like mesh, not as much, except for this yellow one. It sure does like to fray. So that's the finished look for the first layer. I'm seeing the colors matching up nicely with the sign over there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to bring the pipe cleaners from the second layer up in between each mesh. So there's 2 pieces right here, and I'm pulling these all 6 up in between. I'm going to put every other one down flat like this. So I'm doing 2 steps in one. I'm bringing it up. I'm not going to use that one yet. Bring this one up in between. Don't try to pull them through the mesh. Pull them between the mesh. Lay it out horizontal because we're going to be putting mesh in again. Bring that up. We're not using that one. We're doing this one and this one and this last one, the 6th one. And yes, I work a little bit off of the table. I find it's more comfortable, and I'm not sloping over so much, so I'm not straining my back. I bring it to me. If you're standing, it's a little easier to stay over the table. Okay, so now it's time to bring the rest of the mesh out. And we're going to repeat the process we did on the bottom, except for I'm going to show you a slightly different technique for ruffling. So I'm going to use the table to uncurl it. Always have it curl side down. I'm still going to fold it in half and put a clip on it. And then I'm going to roll it out on the table and do the same thing on the other end. Got a couple of pieces wanting to fray. There we go. Fold it in half, mark my center. I'm still going to start off by putting everything into my thumbs, ruffling it with both hands just a little bit, but then I'm going to move one hand up here to help hold the mesh down while I'm ruffling it. It's more important than ever to do that, because remember what I said about the mesh in the center of the roll. It has a much tighter curl and it fights you more. Doing that helps you hold it flat. You ruffle it with one hand. I didn't do it one-handed until I was more comfortable with making the wreaths, so that's entirely up to you. Process is the same. Put it in my thumb and forefinger, hold it loosely, match up my edges, never holding on the edge of the mesh, and bring it over and put it in the frame vertically, in the pipe cleaner centered, so that you have about 5 inches on each side of the middle. Twist tight and low towards the table 3 times. I'm just going to move it up out of the way, and there's a piece of frayed mesh. So again, we're going back to, be careful with it. It tried to grab that piece of ribbon. It's very Velcro-like. Taking that outside cut edge over the inside cut edge. Outside cut edge. And this is moving. Leave it alone. I know you're tempted to move it. Don't. The less you handle it, the better always. I'm going to adjust this because it's way out over here. I didn't grab the edge. It may have looked like it, but I grabbed it down here. Okay. There we go. Skip one, go to this one. Use the table to uncurl it. Always curl side down. Clip the center. Same on this end. Start with two hands and grab it up top. I find that I do a better job staying centered when I do it this method as well. You try everything and then decide what works best for you. It's going to be one bright wreath and I love it. Look how it's sticking to itself. So now you got all this mesh in the wreath, it's sticking to everything. Just have to be really cautious and not pull too hard. You'll end up damaging something. So I'm lifting that up. Outside cut edge over inside cut edge. Move that out of the way. This does not want to stay where it's supposed to. Okay. Outside cut edge over inside cut edge. Make any adjustments. Make sure you don't have any points. Make sure they line up on the side and go to the next one. I'm skipping that. I'm going here. Uncurl it, fold it in half, but make sure it's curl side down. Put it on the table, fold it in half. Do the same thing again, rifle with two hands, then go to the one hand method, holding it down. I find that I have to do less correction once I get it in the frame if I do it this way. And sometimes I eat my words. Make sure that's nice and centered. Tight and low 3 times. Get that out of the way. Make sure the bottom layer stays where it's supposed to. Outside cut edge over inside cut edge. Outside edge over inside cut edge. Got a couple underneath that need to be trimmed. Okay, I got a point here, so I need to bring it down here and pull here just a touch. It's still about an inch off, so I'm going to pull it there. Okay. Okay, so that's the first 3 on the top layer. Here comes another one coming out of hiding. So now I'm going to fold these out. Horizontal because it's the mesh. Horizontal. Turn it. Horizontal. And we'll do the final 3 pieces. And then we'll talk about the sign and the ribbon placement. And fold. Curl side down. There's always one piece on the end of this particular, well, I would call that horizontal design. Twist, 2, 3, outside cut edge over inside cut edge, let go of the ribbon, make Making sure this is on top of the one beside it. Outside cut edge over inside cut edge. Piece of, there's magnet in that chip clip, so it attaches to my scissors all the time. Alright, so let's see. This needs to come out over here underneath. And this has got a point right here, so I need to bring it here. Make sure it's nice and rounded. This still needs to come up a little bit more. There we go. And I haven't damaged the design at all, okay? So there are 2 more. I'm thinking it was 1. I was wrong. You see how curly this is now? I like to use the table, like I said, to uncurl it. Put that clip in the center. Do the same thing on the other end. Got it started there. When I'm not filming, I often use my phone as a weight at the top of the mesh so it doesn't curl up on me, especially when I get to the bottom. This is going to be so bright and cheerful. We're expecting, allegedly, some snow. Friday, today is Wednesday. We'll see if it comes to fruition, because this year it's been allegedly all season. We're going to get snow. Okay, right. We get spit on. We've had a couple of times where it actually stayed on the ground for a day or so. Not very many this year, which is very unlike us. But everything cycles, right? It's not good for the farmers here, though. Nebraska is one of, if not the largest provider of beef. I think by county. Texas has a lot of beef. Yes, yes, yes. But there is a county here, I think it's called Cherry County, where they have the most beef per county in the county. So I folded that in half. This thing is really going to fight me because it's the last one from the center of the roll. Maybe not. It's so far it's behaving. I probably should be quiet while I'm ahead, right? Use 2 hands to start. Then put your hand above. You can put it all the way or right shortly above where you're ruffling. The idea is just to keep it flat. And focus on that clip so you stay centered when you're ruffling. Okay, put it in your thumb and forefinger loosely. That looked pretty good to me. Put that in there, tight and low, twist that pipe cleaner. You need to keep this thin. 3 times. Then I lift it out of the way till I'm ready to put the ribbon in it. Outside cut edge over inside cut edge. Outside cut edge over inside cut edge, and make any adjustments you need to. This one came out just the way it should be. So that is all 6 pieces. So here we are. We have 2 layers of mesh and 1 layer of ribbon. So now we have to decide if we're going to put the ribbon next or the sign next. Now I think today we're going to go with putting the sign before the ribbon because this is a round design. I need this still. And with a round design, you're not going to hide much of the edge. And there's nothing super close to the edge that I'm worried about covering and not being seen. What's the nice thing is about this particular sign too, it's a nice heavy metal. It's already got pre-poked holes in there, pre-punched I should say. So I usually stand to put the sign on, but this one's pretty cut and dry. The holes are appropriately placed. And I'm going to have 1 pipe cleaner at 12 o'clock, and I'm going to have 1 at 6 o'clock to you, from your perspective. And I'm going to use the pipe cleaner to hold it onto the sign on the frame. I'm going to untwist it 1 time on each side so that we maximize the use of the pipe cleaner. So I'm going to take 1 side, and I'm going to pull these out to the side a little bit. Get them out of the way while we're working on the sign. And I'm going to put the pipe cleaner on 1 side on the 12 o'clock position. And I'm going to push it down a little. I'm not going to push it way, way down. We just want it enough so it settles into the mesh and doesn't move on us. And I'm going to twist this a couple of times because we still need room to put ribbon in there. And I'm going to turn it around and do the same thing at 6 o'clock. So I'm going to put that through there. This is a super simple, easy version because everything is so well done. The holes are in there. It's a nice thick sign. I'm going to twist that a couple times. And there's the sign. So I'm going to make sure all of these are to the outside of the sign. So that's evenly placed in there. And then I'm going to take all of these and put them vertical because the ribbon is going to go in horizontal. Okay. Now I'm going to do it slightly different on this layer as far as how I put the ribbon in because I do want it to overlap the sign a little bit. So again, I'm going to start with all of one color combination, meaning these are all of them with the purple and white polka dot, and these are all of them with the blue and white polka dot. So I'm going to put the blue ones on secondarily. So we'll go in and I'll put the ribbon in just like I did on the bottom, every other. Okay. And the way I do it, so that I get it correctly done and I have it laying the way I want, I always do this, then this, this, then this, and then these two. So if it helps you to remember where you're placing things, I'm going to put the blue one there, which means that blue one should go there, and that means that blue one should go there. So I know now that these go all of these places, okay? Purple goes there. Okay. Pardon. All right, so I'm going to put this one in first. I'm going to put it on the table and open up the bundle. And this time I'm still going to ruffle it up the center. But since I don't have the sign on top of the ribbon, I don't have to do this. You can still do this with the pulling the edges to the outside of the table. But since I'm putting this on top of the sign, I want it to splay over the sign a little bit. I don't know another word. I always use splay, I know. Someone let me know another word that would fit well. So I'm going to have it right in front of me. I'm going to put it in the pipe cleaner. I'm going to twist it 3 times, okay? Down low to the table. 1, 2, 3. Now you have a choice. You can either twist like you did on the bottom and put that pipe cleaner behind your ribbon bundles and only have a little stub here of mesh, of pipe cleaner, or you can do like I like to do. So I've shown you that option. I'm not going to do it yet. I usually go around and do that at the end. I'm going to place my ribbons in the spaces that I want. So on the blue, I'm going to have the yellow towards the sign. On the purple, I'm going to have the yellow towards the outside of the wreath, okay? And I'm not doing one side different than the other. So since I'm going to put yellow up, I did a lifted, separated, positioned, lift, separate, position, lift, separate, position. Pardon. I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side versus different on the bottom layer. Lift, separate, position. Give it a little more curl. That, like I said, that yellow palette is finicky. Position and position. Pardon. If it doesn't give you the curl you want, just take this. That's what it's for. One of the reasons it's for. And go behind each of the ribbons individually or all at once to give it a nice curl. So I'm going to do it individually on this side where I did all 3 on that side. Okay, that makes it fluffier, which is okay because even though it's a storm door style wreath, it will just lay it down a little flatter, or you can just leave it completely flat. It's up to you. I usually puff them up like I just had them when I do craft shows so they can see how big and fluffy it really looks, okay? So that means this one is next, which has got the purple polka dot. Swiss dot is what they call that design. Ruffle it up the center, bring it into the frame, tight and low, twist 1, 2, 3, lift that up. Yes, I'm fussing. I should wait till the end. So now the yellow is going to go down towards me to the outside edge of the wreath. So lift, separate, position. I put this in the back because it's so finicky too. That way it won't have much desire to move. See how I did that? But I could bring it up here more and really splay it out so that we have a little more coverage of the sign. And I think I'm going to do that. Cover a little more of the mesh and a little more of the sign. Okay. Down towards me. Lift, separate, down in the middle. This yellow is just something else. It's pretty. I will give it that. That's why I'm using it. I'm not going to curl it up because I flattened it out. And in the end, I will cut these pipe cleaners because one side's not the same length as the other, so they're a little more even. I'll skip those for now. Come back up here to the top. Not do the very top. Let's do this one here. Well, why I do it this way, it makes it light exactly every other, and there's nice coverage. You do it the way you want to. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So that means that this one should be the same as that. So the yellow is up towards the sign. Lift, separate, position. That got really curly, didn't it? Bring this one down here and then this one over here. It sure does have an attitude though. That one will help hold that yellow one down. Now some of this ribbon has a little bit of a wrinkle in it. So I have my secret weapon. It's not secret, it's not my idea, but I've been doing it for years because it saved me a lot of arm muscle and makes my wreaths look crisper. This is a hair straightener, small one albeit. I'm going to heat that up while we're working on it. And it's a small one, it's a portable one. That's why I like it, because I can take it to shows with me. And I have a portable power supply to use it with, called a jackery. And I can straighten out anything that's a mess. So I'm going to turn that on and let it heat up for a few minutes while I work on putting the ribbon on the frame. So we did that one. Now we're going to do this one. That leaves 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock to do last. Get that all ruffled. Put that in there. There's some definite lines in there that need to be ironed out. It's enough that it bugs me, and if it bugs me, I don't want my customers to think less of my product because it looks messy. So now we're going to put the purple up. So lift, separate, and position the yellow down towards me. The floral in the middle always. And then the purple up top. Push those little bubbles out. Using the hair straightener really saves your hands from fluffing your ribbon, and it gives it a nice curl as well. So there are those. So I'm going to go ahead and do 6 o'clock. That yellow one is something else on the bottom. I think it's the same one that's been giving me fits all along. So I'm going to put this one in. I'm going to twist it. 1, 2, 3. And then the yellow is going to go up again, because it's up every other. Floral in the middle. And the blue down to me. Okay, let's do it on this side. floral in the middle. And the blue down here. Okay. Last but not least, let's get this bundle in there. I'll straighten this out a little bit more with the hair straightener when we get to that. So I'm going to put, wow, this is so great for spring or summer. I love these colors. Okay. I'm going to leave the pipe cleaners alone for now because I'm going to fluff the ribbon and clean it up. Not clean it up. What's the word I'm looking for? Straighten it. So this is going to have the yellow down towards me in this bundle. Lift, separate, position. Lift, separate, position. I love the fabric on this. I wish I knew what it was exactly called. It is a Sam's Club ribbon as well. The other ribbons are from Craft Outlet. I get stuff from a lot of different companies, but in the case of these ribbons, that's Craft Outlet and Sam's Club. I like to incorporate more economical ribbons with more pricier ribbons so that I can keep the prices reasonable for my customers. Okay, so where was that one that was really bad? Okay. So this has definite wrinkles in it. There's one over there. You just quickly run this over the ribbon and don't let it set in place for any length of time. See, I gave it a little curl too. I'm just going to do it with all of them on the top layer today. Or maybe not. I left it in one place too long, but easy enough to fix. Okay. So that goes there. That was in the middle. Maybe not. I don't want to damage anything. Okay. I think I put a wrinkle in that one. Oopsie. I love this ribbon, but I hate it. It's a love-hate. Okay, I'm not going to touch the yellow anymore. It is too sensitive. Or you can do them all three at once. That also works really well. That's another technique. But again, don't leave it in space very long. Put it on a lower setting. I'm going to do all of those. And then I'm going to stick it underneath. The blue has a lot of wrinkling in it from the spool. It just depends on where on the spool your ribbon is. I've had some, oh, there was a spool the other day. I'm trying to remember what it was. Oh, it was so bad. The whole roll was super wrinkled, turned backwards, so there was a ton of creases, and I was like, ugh! So I ended up having to iron it out big time. Before the suggestion of the hair straightener, we used to take our ribbon and fix it by using an ironing board because ribbon is expensive. There's the other one that was really bad. I'm going to do it by itself. Takes it all out. Be careful on your satiny ribbons or binded, meaning more than one ribbon and it's heat bonded to each other like striped ribbons. It will, if you're not careful, it can cause it to unbind and ruin your ribbon that way. When I do a show, it's usually all three at once, but this is making it super fluffy. I think that one's good. Bring this yellow up. This has been one of my more challenging ones because of that yellow ribbon. All right, I'm going to turn it off because I'm done with that. Unplug it right away so I don't forget to unplug it. It can go back in its case because it was designed to put it away warm. But yeah, I have one of these in my trailer, my utility trailer, where I have all my product that I take to each show. And it makes fast work of getting things nice and fluffed out. and standing tall. All right, so let's address the pipe cleaners. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut them so that they're even on both sides. Somewhere in the twisting process, you usually have one that is longer than the other. I don't always trim them. I think the last project I did not trim them. And I showed you the one technique of hiding the mesh, hiding the pipe cleaner behind the ribbon if you just want a little bitty stub. But I'm going to curl these up. That one was way off. Whew. You just never know how it's going to end up with the pipe cleaners. I don't have a perfect solution to tell you that if you do it this way, they'll always end up even. It depends on which direction that you're twisting them. Okay, so I'm done with this. Cleaning as I go. I don't need the chip clip anymore. Put that there. These were holding the bundles together, so let me get those put away so we keep it clean. All right, I'm going to keep this out. I don't need this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start right here, and I'm going to twist one side away from me around the wooden dowel or pen or pencil, whichever you use. You can pull it out and it looks like a curly cue, and you can put embellishments on it, or you can just curl it down like I am. So I curled the other side away from me towards the sign. This way I'm curling it towards me. See? I really like this wreath. Oh my goodness. Twist away. Keeping it nice and tight in the center of the ribbon. And this one's towards me. That's 2. And when we get done, we will check the ribbon on the bottom layer, make sure it's all the ribbon is facing the outside edge so we can see it. Okay. Because it probably got pushed up against me a few times, so a couple of them got bent. But the less you handle the product, the better. So that's why I tell you, leave it alone till the end. Got 2 more to go. Next. Last but not least. I love this color combination. It's just really fresh. I started talking about snow. I got sidetracked. That's normal for me. But I'm ready for some spring and green grass again. Okay, so now when you're adjusting your ribbon on the bottom layer, you do not want to just pull on it. You want to lift the mesh from the top layer up off of it so you can bring your ribbon into position. Making sure it's where it belongs and is not snagging on the mesh and putting snags in your ribbon and snags in your mesh as well. Because if it can snag, it will snag. I'm not handling the tips. I'm just running my fingers over the mesh and bringing it to the outside edge. Okay. Okay. 3. And I should have got up when I did the sign because my leg is now falling asleep. I don't sit normal. I sit with one leg under the other crossways. I can't sit flat for very long. It drives me nuts. I think that was 4. What was it, 5? I'm going to go with 4. I can always readjust the ribbon one more time. Piece of phrase sticking out there. Oh, came right out. Okay. I think this is the first one I did, but I'm going to do it again a little bit. Just curl those edges under on the ribbon. All right. And there it is. Complete. Well, there you have it. Now you've seen the process of how to make this beautiful storm wreath. It's really not difficult when you break it out into the steps like I showed you. I think this is a great fun and festive wreath for both the spring, Mother's Day, and summer season, or if you just want something bright and pretty every day. And being that it's so thin, you can have that behind your storm or screen door with no problem and no crushing. So there you have it. If you like what you've seen today, you can subscribe to the channel for free. You can follow me both here on YouTube and Facebook at Wreaths by Marguerite LLC. I'm also on Pinterest and Instagram at Wreaths by Marguerite, no LLC at the end. So there's all of that. Every Sunday at 1 p.m. I have new content, so you can follow along. I've got well over 2 years of content now to view all sorts of designs. It's great. It's a lot of fun to do this. It's rewarding because I do it as a business, and it helps me get out and meet the public in my area as well. And I love that so much. Thanks again for joining me today. I know your time is valuable, and the fact that you carve out some of your day to spend with me when I'm doing this, whether you're learning to do this and make your own or just for entertainment purposes, it's greatly appreciated. So thanks again, and we'll see you next Sunday. Bye-bye for now.